have me.
Welcome back to the D-League Perspective. Coach, this is the quickest turnaround I think we've had in between episodes. How do you feel about that?
You honestly know how I feel about it. I know this is a quick turnaround, but you know how much I love doing these things and how uncomfortable I get talking on these. So with that being said, let's get after it.
All right. Well, you should be excited. We've got a star in the house, Coach O'Connor from Fort Calhoun. He's the head boys basketball coach there. Coach TJ, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. A little uncomfortable with you referring to me as a star, but I'm good.
Hey, you got to call it like you see it, right? Well, hey, we've been excited to have you on here, TJ. I know Coach has some good questions for you. Put you on the spot a little bit, but I thought we'd maybe first just kind of introduce you a little bit and maybe get a little bit of your background, a little bit of your history. I know down your way, people probably heard about you, know who you are, but up this way in Norfolk, maybe down in the Grand Island area, you might be a new face. So let's start. So you grew up, TJ, North Platte, is that right?
Yep. Grew up North Platte. I went to North Platte St. Pat's. So it's kind of been fun coming to this side of the state and coaching. Class C1. We play a lot of C2s, D1s, but it's been fun to get to areas that you kind of, when I was in school, you heard of, you read about in the paper, the good programs, and I was fortunate to play with some really good players in high school, and we had some pretty good teams especially when I was a junior and senior. So you follow, the other ranked teams and programs. So it's been fun to come out here towards this end of the state and see some of the programs that were really good when I was in high school, and a lot of them still are good now.
Nice. And correct me if I'm wrong, but you kind of have some coaching in your bloodline, right?
Yeah, my my uncle was the coach at North Platte Community College. He's actually, I just found out about 2.5-3 weeks ago that he's going into the Junior College Hall of Fame for coaching. I need to go double check, but I think he was at 39 or 40 years that he was at North Platte Community College. It used to be called Mid Plains, but he was out there for close to 40 years, if not more than 40 years. And so I got to grow up a lot, being out in that gym and being able to go watch some pretty high level basketball. I remember, you guys will remember, but like Bobby Jackson from, the Minnesota Gophers, and went and played with the Kings in the NBA. He was at Western Nebraska, and they were big rivals. I remember watching him come out and play, and we'd get, Division I guys cycling through pretty frequently. So you get to see some pretty high level basketball. I went out and played for him for a year. I'll use played loosely. I was on the team. Found out really quick that that's another level. But I was fortunate enough to do that, and learn a little bit there, and then just kind of the same story that thousands of people have told. Shredded my knee halfway through my first year, and just kind of decided it was probably time to just, go to school. And so I finished up school there, and then ended up going down to Lincoln, and I've kind of just been towards this end of the state ever since.
You still have family back in North Platte?
I do. My uncle still, he's not the coach there, but he's still the athletic director there and teaches at the school. My dad runs a sporting goods store still. in North Platte, and then he's got one in McCook, and then Colby, Kansas. And then my other uncle is still an eye doctor there. So yeah, I still have mom and dad still live there. So having 4 young kids myself, we don't get back a lot as a family. My brother lives close to me. He's actually the head girls coach at Bennington High School right up the road. So my parents kind of come this way more than we get back there. But yeah, I still have family back there.
I did not know your brother's a head coach at Bennington for girls.
Yeah, he's been there. I want to say this is year 9, maybe.
Oh, wow. Nice.
So
Wow.
yeah, he was pretty young. He was on the boys staff there, and then as they were kind of making that transition from C1 to B, he ended up taking over the girls, and they're really young this year. He's a really good coach. He does a great job, but they've got it coming. They got a really good young nucleus, so I'm excited to see what they'll be like in the next couple of years.
Nice. That's cool. I didn't know that. And right close to you, that's even better. That's even better yet. So, what age were you when you got your first head coaching gig? And where was it at again?
I was 28, I think. 28, 29, somewhere in there. At Arlington, which is just up the road from us, conference rival. So I was there as the head coach for 3 years. And then I was there for 7 teaching. I was there for 3 years, and then needed to step away. I was living the fast life, and just boozing hard and doing needed to get my personal life in order, to say the least. So I stepped away for a year coaching high school there, and then came back and did some junior high stuff, and then I went and helped out Coach Spooner at Mount Michael for a year, and then ended up getting the head coaching job at Fort Calhoun, and just finished my 5th year there. So
Nice.
It's a great
When
story.
you, yeah, it is. When you took over at Fort Calhoun, um, how was the boys program kind of built when you became the head coach?
they were coming off a good year. Andy Christensen was the head football coach and the head basketball coach for 1 year. He actually came in, I think it was the same year I did, or maybe the year before, as the head football coach at Fort Calhoun. The same year I was the head basketball coach at Arlington. And he was an assistant on the basketball staff for a few years. So I kind of had gotten to know him. Historically, Fort Calhoun has not had a ton of success, but they did have. There's a coach named Ron Coughlin who had some success there. They had some pretty good teams in the 2009, 2010 time frame. I think maybe a little bit later than that. And then another coach, PJ Mallett, took over for him, and he had a pretty. I think one of the years they were 17-7, something like that. And then the year before I got there, I think they were 15-10, maybe 6, somewhere in there. Upset Boys Town at the sub-district game, played in a district final, and I think Auburn got us pretty good. But there was definitely some ability there. Ironically, the 1 year I coached junior high Arlington, I remember watching that junior high group at Fort Calhoun, and they were salty. If you guys watched our state tournament team a couple years ago, you saw the 2 twins. And when they were in 8th grade, I remember watching them, and I was just like, what is happening? I mean, those 2 were like 6'2", 6'3", throwing one-hand diagonal passes like they were Larry Bird out there. And I was like, who are these dudes? And they actually I didn't know there was another set coming, because they had there was an older set of twins, that were their brothers, and then there was an oldest one. And I actually coached my first year at Arlington. Their oldest brother was a senior at Calhoun, and he was a dog. He transferred in. He was on those Central teams that when they were starting their run at Omaha
Oh yeah.
Central there. So I mean, he was player like 10, 11, 12, somewhere in there, and he just wanted a place to go be able to play. And Fort Calhoun was up the road, and so he ended up coming out there for his senior year, and man, he was a load. I think he averaged 18, 19 a game. So there was him, and then there was another set of twins. So I mean, there was like Schwartz boys there for a decade, maybe. So it was the program as a whole. There was definitely had been some success. I think probably the thing that we've tried to maybe really put into place that hasn't quite been there is that the youth level, and really getting something put into place down there that's kind of consistent, and that we can kind of build up through the youth, and that's a work in progress. Sometimes that takes you 7, 8, 9 years to really see the fruits of your labor, so to speak. So that's been fun. That's been an enjoyable part for me, for sure.
Yeah, when I was down there
Very good.
a couple of weeks ago, and you had me come down and do a camp there, and you had those that younger group you had there, and I don't know, I couldn't even count that high, and it was like 30 some kids there. That younger group, I think it was 3rd grade through 5th grade, whatever it was. Super impressed what the turnout was. So obviously you've got it going on down there with your youth, and I think it was a year before that, or a year and a half before that, we came, I believe, on a Saturday morning, and you had your maybe some 1st graders, 2nd graders getting up and down the floor. You had the hoops lowered, so they had some success, and you talked about just teaching them, hey, basket's made, you got to take the ball out of bounds. And it looked like the kids were having a blast. And when your kids can have a blast at that age, 2nd grade, kindergarten, 3rd grade, 4th grade, it's fun. And when you can make the game fun, you keep your kids engaged. So you're doing a great job, I think, on the youth, and hopefully it pays off here in 2 or 3 years for you. And it looks like it will in my eyes anyway.
Yeah, thank you.
I think one of my favorite hashtags is build the fort. Did you come up with that?
I did. I just kind of was kind of looking for different things. I don't know, when you first take over somewhere, you're trying to look for your little shirt slogans or your different things, and that was kind of for our youth. It was like, well, what are we trying to do with our youth? Well, we're trying to build it up, and so that was just kind of a little play on words, I guess, that we came up with, and people seemed to like it. They're like, oh, that's pretty cool. That's unique. So we've kind of just ran with it, I guess.
Yeah, I love it. Put it on a t-shirt. So I was going to ask you, because it seems like you've done, and again, that's why I asked, what the program was like when you kind of took it over, but how hard is it, in your opinion, as a head coach of a C1 program, to build a program sort of from the ground up, with the youth? Because you have youth leagues on Saturdays or something like that, don't you? And obviously clinics and stuff like that. But as far as just like logistically and coordinating and stuff like that, I mean, you're trying to do all that while still being the head coach of a C1 program. Talk on that a little bit. Is it really challenging, or are you just like a complete stud multitasker? Do you have a lot of help? What are your thoughts?
I think I learned a lot from my first go round at Arlington, but at both places, I've been so fortunate. I'm not very smart, and I'm certainly not a great coach. I've been fortunate to coach under and around a lot of really good people. And I've learned a lot from a lot of guys, and tried to take bits and pieces from different coaches. And one of the things I think that I've tried to be really intentional about is when you get to those places to really seek out good people. Good people, number one, and then if they're good basketball people on top of it, even better. You're even more fortunate, and that's kind of been the case for me. The first couple years, as I'm trying to get to know people in the community and get to know who everybody is, a lot of it did fall on my shoulders, and I had to kind of learn how to get better at delegating some stuff. But we've really sought out people in the community, basketball people that you kind of, have young kids, but also I've been fortunate that I have guys helping out that are good basketball people, but also, yes, they're in it for their kid because we all are as dads, but they're not just in it for their kid. They want to see other kids, in those grades and in those in that youth program succeed. So I've been able to have very invested people that have helped out a ton, just with different. We do a ton as high school coaches leading up to our season in the summertime, but it's nice to be able to have people that you trust that once our practices and stuff start kicking off, that I can take a step back. I'm still involved. I'm still there to help answer questions, but they can kind of, help with managing gym times and registering for tournaments or dealing with any conflicts or things like that come up. But I do think, in saying all of that, I do think there's something to be said about still being involved as the high school coach, because those young kids want to see the high school coach. They want to see the high school players. They don't want to see Joe, who's the director behind the scenes or whatever. And not that I'm any more valuable than he is, but when I come up to a kid and say something, it kind of just hits a little bit different, as I'm sure you guys know from when you were little. When the varsity player came up or the varsity coach came up and said hi, you were like, oh man, that's really cool. He knows who I am. So I do take a lot of pride in, I can see every kid in our program. We've got, I think this year I counted 3rd through 8th, we've got 101 kids registered, and I know all their names. I know, if I see them at the elementary or I see them at one of our games and they come up and say, hey, Coach OC, what's going on? It's, hi, Joe, hi, Tim, hi, Nathan, hi. It's not just, oh yeah, there's a kid that I remember at a camp. So I also think, and that helps me that, I'm around it a lot. Like in the summertime, I don't just have all my assistants run all the youth. Like I'm there. They might take the lead on it because I'm helping high school guys or doing stuff, but I'm at least popping in for 15, 20 minutes so I can say hi to the kids every time and get to know faces, because that's who you want playing for you. And you also have to, I think we all kind of realize we're close enough to Omaha that, you better make sure that your kids feel valued or they'll go somewhere else to play.
Yeah, true. Well said.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like a whole nother conversation almost right there. But, no, thanks for that. I was curious. I know, I think it's hard everywhere, but I think that C1B range where 101 kids and whatever it is, 5, 6 grades, that's really cool. So, it's hard to manage, I'm sure. But, Coach, you got any questions for TJ?
Oh, I got a couple here, and I don't know if it's time to talk about them or not. But I just want to go back to when he's talking about the JUCO coaches, and obviously now that I found out your uncle was there for 39 or 40 years, whatever you said. Obviously the JUCO gig must be a good deal. I mean, Coach Anderson was at Northeast, Norfolk for I don't know how many years, Mitchell. And he just retired last year. Is this
Long time.
first year for Coach Clark? And then helped me
Yep.
with the name
Yep.
at Central Community College in Columbus was Jack for years. Started with a G, Gutierrez or something like that. You know, he was there at Central
Yeah.
Community
Yeah.
for years and years. So obviously that JUCO coaching must be a pretty uh, good gig, I'm thinking. But and I don't like I said, and that leads me into my next question is this time of year, you know, obviously there's only, you know, what 48 teams left playing in boys. And then, you know, last week you start seeing a few uh, on Twitter, so and so's leaving, so, you know, what is in like the high school my question is, do most high school coaches or most high school teachers are they always looking like for an admin job? You know, is that you know like the main reason they're leaving coaching, and why can't if they get an admin job stay in the coaching, or what is the teacher you know I guess feedback on that? Why can't you be a principal or a superintendent and still be a head coach? Because you know you see it. I've seen a few on Twitter in Nebraska here. They're leaving here to take an admin job somewhere or in the same school per se. So I don't know if that's a good question or not, but it's always, you know, intrigued me. If you love coaching and you're putting me at principal, I still want to coach.
Right.
Is that frowned upon?
I think I,
I have no idea.
I think a lot of it is school size. You start getting into the C2s, D1s, D2 schools. You probably see more guys that are athletic directors and still head coaches, and even principals and head coaches. There's very few. I know my old high school football coach. Now this is a private school, but he's the superintendent and still the football coach. I think when you start getting into the bigger schools, I mean, you're talking about. I just don't know how you'd have the time. I think some. It's not necessarily, to my knowledge, like a rule or a law or something like you can't do this. I think it kind of varies from school district to school district.
Okay.
Um, I think there's from a pay standpoint, there's generally an increase in pay going from a coach to an administrator. But I just think that the time that it that you need to put in, it makes it really hard when you're talking about kind of what Coach Schulte was talking about earlier with anymore. And this isn't to sound like, oh, poor me or whatever, but being a head coach is kind of a year-long thing. I mean, you're running your youth in the summer, you're doing your camps, you're going, you're asking your kids to go do stuff in July with AAU teams, and you're doing so. I think having to do all that and put in all that time on top of being an administrator is really hard. And not to say that it can't be done. There's some really good coaches out there that are administrators too. But I think the higher up you get, most of those school districts pretty much say, no, you're not going to still coach and be an administrator. I don't know if it's a conflict of interest thing. I'm sure there's probably, they just don't feel like you can do both jobs to the level that you need to do them. But it's interesting to see how many people um, go that route, and get out of coaching to get into administration. I don't know that I couldn't tell you, like, I haven't really had a lot of those conversations with guys that have, so I can't really necessarily say um, why they're doing that, but um, that's usually I think it's a little bit of maybe the pressure, or just the a little bit better salary, or whatever.
I think too, and TJ, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't a lot of admin like an 11 or 12 month even contract?
Yeah, to my knowledge, I mean, I know, like, at our school, like, yeah, you're more of a you're less of that traditional teacher, off June and July, or, that 2 to 3 month window. Most of them are, truly kind of your traditional job structure of you're just year round, and then you got your vacation days built in and all that. So yeah, I think majority of places, your admin jobs, your full-time admin jobs are 12-year contracts, or 12-month contracts.
Yeah. So it's hard when in the summer, like that's what your main duties are. Yeah. You're supposed to be running a program, whether it's whatever, football, basketball, whatever. So,
All right,
um,
I'll get to the next question now. That was just one I've had. It's just been interesting to me is you see coaches, stepping down to take an admin job or something like that. I was just curious on how all that worked. But so the next question, TJ, I'm putting you on the spot, and I don't know if you remember this conversation we had last summer. But the first 5 words out of your mouth, I was taken back. But then the next 5 words, you had my curiosity. And we were sitting at a game, and we're talking, and you go, "What I hate about D League," this is what I hate about D League. This is why I love D League, and you went off about something about what a haze. We can't get set, so we don't have time to do set plays and all this kind of stuff. But then you go, that's why I love D League, because we're just there working on fundamentals, getting kids better. So can you elaborate on that a little more for the audience on and I don't know if you remember saying that or not, but we were sitting there at UBT. You were getting ready to play a game. We were waiting. They had 5 minutes for the next game to play. But and you had a very good team last summer too that you were coaching. So
Yeah, I remember that conversation now that you say that. And
he talks about it all the time, TJ. He does.
I think it's more the frustration. Like we all, especially most everybody, but especially in the coaching world, you're competitive people. We all have egos. And it's for sure my own insecurities, or whatever. Of you go into these games and you're playing some of these programs or some of these places that are, they're running 2-3 different defenses. They're running, a couple different presses, or you're catching a set from them every time down, and I'm kind of sitting there, and then they down, at the other end think they're just, John Wooden, Coach K, and you up, just coaching circles around you. And it's like, all right, sounds good, buddy. So in the moment you sit there and you get frustrated, you get pissed. Give me 2 weeks, dude. Because we're not sitting in practice doing shell and working on how we're going to defend ball screens and how we're going to rotate out of this stuff and all of that. And honestly, we shouldn't be doing that. And that's what I tell, and I've never been in another summer program. I don't know what any other summer program does, so I can't speak on any other summer program. But when I encourage my kids to go play in the summertime if they want more. Yeah, go find the right fit for you, whether that's this organization, or this organization, or whatever. But Coach Craven down in Fremont was my JV coach my first year at Fort Calhoun. That's kind of how I got introduced to D League and kind of got to know, what you guys were about and all of that. And for me, I want kids coming back with better skills, because I always tell coaches this all the time. There are so many ways to win basketball games. And we joke about it is your offense continuity? Is it, do you run ball screen continuity? Do you run motion? Are you a zone team? Are you man? everything out there has won at all levels at some point in time. Because if it was bad, it wouldn't be on the internet. Nobody puts a stat out there that goes, "This has never gotten us a good shot. Draw this up in the huddle." So everything out there works. It's going to depend on your personnel. It's going to depend on how you want to do things. So for me, like, I'm not really interested in my kids going and saying, like, well, we really got good at the KU 3-out 2-in motion that we ran all summer long, or we really got good at running our ball screen continuity, or man, we played this trapping zone defense that we worked on all the time and got really good at it. And it's like, that's awesome. We're not going to do any of that. So congratulations that you got really good at their stuff. And I'm not knocking their stuff, because obviously that works and there's programs out there that do that. But for me as a high school coach, I look at summer basketball different than probably a lot of people do. I certainly look at it different than probably most parents do. I look at it differently than just some random guy that's sending, his kid somewhere, or just a guy out there evaluating or watching. Like, I'm looking at it. I look at a summer program from a high school coach's perspective. And for me, I want better players, because if I have better players, I can run any of that stuff that I just talked to you guys about, and we'll be good at it. If I have better players. And I'm not, I still kind of, because I'm so immature that I still kind of look at myself as a young coach, but I'm older now. But like, when, I tell every coach, it's like, well, what would what's the most important thing as a young coach? Like, what would you say is the most important thing? Good players. Have talent. That's the most important thing. Like, I mean, you can talk culture, you can talk, discipline, you can talk everything till you're blue in the face. If you don't have good players, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't. Like, you can have the greatest culture in the world, and if all your kids are really good chess players, you're getting blasted on the basketball court. That's just the fact of the matter, I mean, and so, like, you need to have really good players. Nobody out there has won with bad players. So I'm trying to get kids to improve their skill, and through playing and just trial and error and all of that, like, learn learn kind of how to play, or just get a feel for the game, I guess, if that makes sense. But then it does get frustrating, because so many people focus on the winning and the losing, and our team lost by 35 and got beat really bad. And I tell our parents with D-League or whatever, I'm like, if you are searching for summer championships, if that's your goal, if your goal is to get the picture with the banner in the background, this is probably not the program for you. Like, this, it's just, and that's not anything towards anybody else. I'm like, but if that's what's going to be your main focus. Now, we've had some teams that have went and won tournaments and done all of that, but it's really not about that. And that's even a frustration for me at the youth level and all of that, because there's 85 levels you can play at. If you really want to, you can find a league that you can win at, or a level that you can win at, or whatever. But man, we've kind of just lost our marbles a little bit with the wins and the losses, and who's winning a game versus just, did you get better? Did you get better? Are you better? Are you better on August 1st than you were on January 1st? Like, and if the answer is yes, then that's pretty much should answer your question for you. Like, I mean, what else do you really want?
Yeah. Well said, Coach. That kind of leads me into my next question. And like I said, I'd love your honest opinion on this. And I said you probably answered some of the things in your in what we just talked about, but why do you think some high school coaches hate? I'm sorry, or I shouldn't. That's a strong word. Hate, strongly dislike summer basketball, or their boys or girls playing summer basketball with somebody other than their high school team.
Probably a lot of us are control freaks a little bit. I think probably ego plays a role in that for sure. I think it's a different game. Like I am not. I enjoy D League. I enjoy, I had a good group. My son's now coming up, so I help out. But like, I'm not built for like summer basketball, and I don't. It's just different. Like, I'm not saying it's better, worse, whatever. Like, it's just different. It's just different than in-season high school basketball, and vice versa. And quite honestly, I don't think I couldn't be, nor would I be a good like full-time. Just that's what I do is coach, summer basketball, and that's just because I think of my personality. And that's not, again, 100% not saying, oh, because that's not this or there's good coaches everywhere. I've seen great coaches in the summertime that do a phenomenal job, and I've seen bad coaches in the summertime. You see great coaches at the high school level. You see coaches that maybe are not very good. They're everywhere. I think it's just kind of a little bit personality. But back to your question, I probably maybe feeling threatened, or just like, what if they come back and think I don't know what I'm talking about, or go there. And I do think there's a little bit of a challenge in that, talking a little bit about how different the summer is versus the high school is. There's not near as much conflict in the summer as there is in a high school season. And what I mean by that is, talking about that focus on development and stuff, like, how much in the summertime are you on a team where you're not really playing, or you're being told like you can't take that shot, or that's or I need you to play this role, or this, you're only going to play X number of minutes in this game because of the matchup. So I do think there's some level of, they come back to the high school season and it's like, I got to do this on my team, or I got to do this. And it's like, okay, I get that, but this is a little bit different. One, we're not just in our age group anymore. We're playing with 4 age groups. And it's just different, And so I think maybe some coaches just get frustrated by the difference. But probably just, again, it goes back to that, I like it because, like, probably one of the things I've liked most about D League is I've learned a lot. And I think if you ever think you can't learn, you're crazy in this coaching business. Like, I've watched you do, skill work, Coach Bitt at a Sunday afternoon D League practice, and it's like, man, I really liked that ball handling, or I really liked how he taught that footwork concept. So for me, it's been awesome because I've learned a ton. Like, I've learned a ton with just the skill development piece, and so I've really enjoyed it.
I was just going to follow up that, TJ, because it's like our main goal is to just teach kids how to play basketball, right? And that's why, we run a free flowing dribble drive dish offense. We teach finishes, we teach footwork. And so, and I'll just say it, Tim, I don't care. We learned yesterday at one of our tryouts that there's a coach relatively locally that said, basically bashed our program a little bit. And it's like, I don't know that guy really even knows what we do, and I feel like we try to make it a program where, we have no agendas. We do have an offense, but it's a relatively just, hey, go make a play, again, dribble, drive, kick, whatever. And we just teach fundamentals and finishes, like I said. But, it's kind of frustrating for us because we're like, we invite all the coaches every time I send an email, please come to a tryout, just see what we're about, So I don't know. I just wanted to hit on that because it's frustrating for us. You probably don't care, you're a head coach, but when we have the mission that we have, and that's some of the responses we get. It's like, man, that is so frustrating. Just come check us out and see what we do. But anyways, go ahead, Tim.
No, so what I was going to ask is obviously in what we do, and obviously we're ever evolving, trying to come up with the next best teaching. How do we teach this? Should we improve this? Should we change our offense this year? Should it be different for 5th grade, 6th grade, or whatever? But our main focus, obviously the younger grades is just fundamentals, but obviously in the high school level, it's like we want your kids to go back and help your coaches, help your team win games. And so I was talking to a coach at Heartland Hoops, and I was talking to Mitchell about this, and obviously, TJ, say you didn't have anything to do with, D-League per se, because you have a lot to do with it down there, and but you had kids playing for us. I was telling this other coach, it's like maybe what I need to do is, if I got, say, Grayson Bauman playing for me, and you're not coaching him, and as a head coach, would you appreciate a phone call from me going, what do you want me to focus on with Grayson this summer? And you might go, well, he brings the ball up all the time, but he needs to work better, coming off a screen to get a shot in, so, okay, Grayson, you're not bringing the ball up 80% of this game that you play, even though you're my best ball handler. I need you to be more of a shooting guard for me, coming off ball screens, hitting shots. Is that worth it? Or is that just like taking it too far? For me, calling when we get our high school teams up, calling 11 coaches and going, I've got so-and-so here. What do you think he needs to work on this summer with us?
I think you're going to get mixed responses from that, no matter what. I think because there's just so many different personalities. Me personally, like, I would appreciate that. I would appreciate that as a parent. Now, a little different parent coach thing, but I think a lot of the comments that you're talking about, I've been guilty of it. Like, it's ignorance, like you don't know about your program, or vice versa, or I hate to say it, but they saw someone from your program, or talked to one person from your program that had a bad experience, right? And so then that's their only reference point. I watched a coach get thrown out of a game. Well, all of a sudden my perception of this program is, man, this guy was going ballistic on the sidelines. The language he was using, like, that program is garbage. I think we've all probably been guilty of that, and so I learned so much about basketball, and about, my dad's run a business for 40 years. And just like, there's what you guys do, there's going to be haters, just like being a head coach, like, there's going to be, you will never make everybody happy. And so, like, I look at D-League a little bit like I look at my dad's business. Like, we're not a massive AAU organization, we're not the original, we're not the OG on the block or whatever. My dad's just a small mom and pop shop, and he used to always say, I don't want 100% of the customer base. I want the 20%, and I want to be loyal to those 20%, and I want the right 20%. And if you treat treat that 20% right, they'll keep coming back, you know? And I think if you treat them right, I think as long as, you know, you're back to your question with coaches, I think it's important to keep that dialogue open, even a simple email of, you know, hey, coach so-and-so, like we've got four of your kids. And I mean, me for an example, you obviously know me, but you got 7 Calhoun kids playing for your Fremont organization, you know, having you or somebody reach out and just say, hey, we really see you got a lot of your guys here. Is there anything we can do to help your kids, help your program? I think that would for sure go a long way in building that relationship, because like I said, I've probably been guilty of it. I think sometimes there's just this adversarial relationship between AAU or club or summer coaches or whatever you want to call it, and high school coaches, you know. And ultimately, if we're all about what we truly like say we're about, you know, which is the kids, don't we just want good stuff for them and have them be around good people, and good programs, and not just learning basketball the right way, but learning how to play the game the right way and how to be, you know, good teammates. And that's probably the thing that bothers me the most is when I go to these youth, you know, I got kids coming up now, and is just seeing how, not even kids, but man, how adults act at these things. It's just wild to me. It's like, what in the hell are we doing? Like, we're out here playing basketball and people are going bananas at these things. And it's like, we've lost focus. Like, we're just trying to help kids get better at stuff that I hope they enjoy, which is what you talked about, like having joy with it, you know? But sorry, I go off on tangents, but I think it would be great for you to reach out to coaches. I personally, I would, you know, now in saying that, I can guarantee you, I can promise you, you're going to get a couple emails where you're going to go, gee, many Christmas, I'm not going to talk to that guy again. But I think by and large, most coaches would go, man, I really appreciate that.
Okay. Awesome.
All right. Well, hey, that's great conversation, Coach. We got a little fun segment here leading up to. It is currently Monday evening before Boys State basketball. Our goal is to get this out before probably Wednesday, Thursday-ish. So depending on how quickly intern Wyatt works. So shout out intern Wyatt. But we are going to we all three get a pick. We're going to go through all the classes and get our pick at who's going to take home the championship trophy this weekend. Hey, do you guys like Nebraska's state championship trophy?
Actual trophy?
Yeah, because they changed it a couple years ago, didn't they, TJ? Do you know?
Fort Calhoun made it for the first time in 100 years. A couple years ago. So I have no idea what any trophy looks like, my man. So you're asking the wrong guy. Call Coach Weeks at Auburn or Coach Sheaf at Wahoo. They'll tell you.
Yeah, I swear they changed it like a few years ago. And there's like, you know, some feedback of people didn't like it, of course. Anytime there's change, we got people like Tim Bittner yelling about it because they never like change. But anyways.
I don't think they've changed it all, Mitchell. They're all the same with the state of Nebraska, you know, the state of Nebraska on the trophy. And you can't – what are you going to change it to? I mean, everybody's got their trophy cases designed for state championship trophies, and there's only so much room. You can't go higher. You know, it's a trophy.
No, they did change it. I know. They did change it, though. They, like, changed the shape of the Nebraska. Remember, it used to have like a little basketball player on it, I think, didn't it?
Yeah, I think – doesn't it still?
Is it still not on there?
No, I don't think it does. I think they got rid of that. I don't know. Somebody fact check me on the interwebs. Fact check me. Anyways. All right, Class A. I got the short straw. I'm going to go first.
You got the long straw. The long straw always gets to go first. What era did you grow up in?
It was a short straw.
The short straw always goes
I'm a
last.
'90s baby, man.
Okay, yeah, you have a trophy to wherever.
No. I ain't that generation. I was born in '89. Thank you. So I'm an '80s baby. I should have said. I'm a '90s kid, and I thought it was the long straw. Well, whatever. The short straw. Either way is fine. I'm gonna go first with Class A. I'm absolutely crazy if I don't take Bell West. So, give me Bell West. I think they probably run through Class A. But what, Coach? You're up. You're up next. So, what do you think? Who you got?
Well, unfortunately, I think I think Class A could be almost wide open. That's just me, but I'm going with the number 7 seed. I'm going with Gretna. I think Gretna is a good story this year. Sad story, but a good story. So I'm taking Gretna.
That was going to be my pick, but anyways, carry on. That's a great pick. I think we're all probably a little bit rooting for Gretna this year, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, it's a good pick. TJ, who you got?
I like the Gretna pick. Love Coach Hurd. Obviously, great story with Coach Feakin. That would be phenomenal if they could pull that off. I'm with you guys. I think there's some, little impartial there to hopefully they can make a run and pull something magical off. Since you guys took those two, I'm going to go with my good buddy Etz at Miller North, and I'm going to take Miller North winning Class A.
Good pick. Can't go wrong. All right. Class B. Coach, I'm real intrigued on who you're going to take in Class B. So, Coach, you're first. TJ, you're second. I'm third. Go ahead, Coach.
To me, it's a no-brainer. You got to take Crete. I mean, they're 25-0. Obviously, Tony Siski's down there. I don't know if there's any history to that or not. A coach winning a state title at 3 different schools. I mean, I'm sure it's been done. I don't know if that's been done before. But, yeah, Crete's my pick to win Class B.
Good pick. TJ, who you got?
I'm going to go another homer. Buddy I grew up with down the street from me was my roommate in college. We coached together at Miller North, so I'm going to go with my buddy Jergs at Scott. I'm going to go with the Scott Skyhawks. It's also my wife's alma mater, so I probably better stick with that one.
Don't want to be in the doghouse, huh?
Never.
I'm not going to lie to the fan base here, our podcast fan base. I'm not that educated in Class B. But I might take a wild card here and go with the Bennington. I just think I like Bennington. I think it's a school on the rise, and they might make some noise here. So that's what I'm going with. 7 seed Bennington.
And they won state football, so not a bad pick.
Athletes, baby. Let's do it. Badgers, right?
Yep.
All right, on to C1. TJ, you got a lot of experience in this one here. So this is going to be a dogfight.
It is. I think you probably say this most years, a lot of teams that could win. It was crazy in C1 this year. I think there was 11. We counted 11 or 12. 11, I think. Teams in C1 had 20 or more wins this year. It was just crazy.
That is crazy.
That is wild.
But I've seen most all of them play. I do think. I think anybody can get hot there. But I'm gonna go with Wahoo. I think Wahoo's gonna. I know Ashland's had their number, but I think I'm gonna go with Wahoo.
All right, Coach Sheaf.
I did not see him picking that. I did not see him. That was my pick all the way.
Oh man. Am I up?
You're up.
I'm up. Well, I'm obviously going with the AG boys. So 3-peat, baby. I got to. I think I'm coming. I'm predicting, hoping. I think they've got a tough first game, with Donovan Trumbull, but I'm predicting a Auburn Ashland rematch third year in a row to go to the championship, and I think I might make an appearance to that one, Coach. We'll see. So that's my pick. Let's go Blue Jays.
Well, then you
Tim,
left me no. You left me no choice than let's go with Coach Weeks.
Good call.
I mean, I've got to.
I love that.
TJ took my first pick. You took my second pick, and then I'm taking Coach Weeks, and it's probably could be the one that wins it all.
Could be. Now, no, you don't want to take Concordia, number 1 seed.
Like back to what TJ said. Look at there's how many teams there that could possibly come through and win this thing. Obviously, we've watched the Omaha Concordia. Ogallala, that's a good team. They're solid.
You watch them too.
We watched Donovan Trumbull. I mean, they're 22-2, and they're the 7th seed.
That's wild. This class is stacked. It's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. I like it. I love the the semifinal matchup. We're putting some actual dollars on that one, Coach.
Yeah, that'll be a full 10:45.
Don't sleep on DC West.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we played them twice this year. They can get hot. I think. I mean, like you said, though. I mean, look at you got 22-2, 22-4, 20-5, 24-2. There's really not I mean, you can't call somebody that's 22-2 a sleeper. Like there's teams there, so. I mean, Coach Burr. I've gotten to know Coach Burr at Donovan Trumbull. Like, I mean, I can see that one being wild.
I know. Coach, I'm acting like you're crazy for taking an undefeated Auburn with Coach Weeks.
Yeah. Auburn 26-0?
Why would you take the 3 seed? Nobody took the 1 seed. Oh, because they're 26-0 and it's Coach Weeks.
They never win in Lincoln.
Oh, it's funny. All right, let's move it on to C2. I think I'm up, right? Oh boy. You know who I am going to go with? Obviously, we got some Northeast Nebraska representation up here. It's my hood up here, but I'm going to go with Ponca. I just did I take yours, Coach?
No, you didn't take mine. You take mine. You might take.
Oh. I feel a little bad not going with Norfolk Catholic. I think it's going to be a great game, and honestly, I think whoever wins that game might win a state championship. That's my opinion. But it's going to be a battle. But Coach Pulowski's obviously got a couple state titles. It's been a few years. I'm not sure when the last time they were at state, but Max Mason, Connor Day, shout out to those guys. Went back to back, but I like Coach Pulowski. I like his game plan. I think he's going to be tough to beat down there. So, TJ, you're up. Who you got?
You know what? I'm going to go Lincoln Lutheran.
Ooh.
They play a tough schedule. They play in their conference is stacked, so they're tested. So I'm gonna go underdog there, and I'm gonna go Lincoln Lutheran.
All right, that's a little Metro bias, but we'll let that slide.
All right, my pick.
Tim, what you got?
Obviously, TJ went out of turn. That's okay because that's.
Crap! Did he?
That's all right. I wasn't taking Lincoln Lutheran anyway, but I'm picking another Northeast Nebraska team. I'm going with Summerlin.
All right,
Summerlin's my team. I was going to pick Norfolk Catholic, and then you took Ponca, but I'm going with Summerlin.
That's hey, they've been playing well. They're going to be tough to beat.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about Amherst, Bridgeport, or Cross County. I ain't going to lie to the fan base again.
I've watched Cross County play. Cross County's got a solid team. So, I mean, but I just think Summerlin's got a few more basketball players on it than maybe Cross County. Hopefully Cross County doesn't hear this, but I just think Summerlin Summerlin has a few more basketball players up and down the floor. Obviously, Cross County was very good in football. I don't know if they won the football state title or not, or if they whatever. But they got some athletes. Washington played David City. But I'm taking Summerlin. I think they have a chance.
We shall see. Also, shout out Coach Hazelhorse at Cedar Catholic.
Yeah.
Can't count them out either.
No.
They can make a run.
I didn't want to say the same thing that you said, but I think that Cedar Catholic Lutheran one could be. One might be the. I don't know. Everybody, any one of them teams can win it. That's about 90% of the classes. Takes a little luck, a little play well at the right time.
Yeah.
And here's a quick question before we go to the D1, TJ. I was down there for girls last week, and it just seemed like you could write it down. I was down there for 3 days. The first round, when teams played, if they shot well the first round, they didn't shoot worth a crap the second, in the semis. But if they shot bad and won, then they shot really well in the semis. And it just seemed like it was, and there again, shooters shoot, whatever. And, if you're a 40% 3-point shooter, whatever it is, and you miss 10 in a row, and you're 40%, chances are you're going to make your next 5 or 6, in a row. But it just seemed like that was the kind of how the flow went. The teams that I watched on, say, Wednesday played, shot like crap. Then in the semifinals, they shot lights out, and it just seemed like if you shot really well that first round, you maybe didn't shoot so well the second time you played. But it's okay. Okay, on to D1. I'm taking sitting here.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
You know what? I'm picking the best athlete in that class, and probably I'm taking Ainsworth. Carter Nelson.
I like it.
It's a good pick. I think I saw somewhere, because I know he was at some of those all-star football games. So I think I want to say somebody said they were like 18-2 or 18-3 or something when he was there, and then some of the losses were when he wasn't there. But yeah, I mean, when you have that wild card in your pocket down there, that can be tough. I think my head says Johnson Brock, but my heart, my alma mater's down there, man. I gotta go with North Platte St. Pat's. I gotta.
You better be saying that.
I gotta go there. That's my pick.
I can't believe that you guys just left me with the defending state champion, undefeated defending state champion as pick 3. And I'll take them 10 times out of 10, baby. No brainer. 10:30 a.m. We're reigning champs back to back. Johnson Brock. Let's go.
Riverside's upsetting them now just because
they probably will. My bad. The whole community of Johnson Brock. My bad. This karma hates me. So
no kid will ever play D League from Johnson Brock ever.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. All right, on to D2. TJ. Go ahead.
I can't say who I think this is a 2-horse race between, but I'm going to go Shelton.
All right.
Yeah, I would say if there was Vegas odds, they would be heavy favorites to win this class.
Did they play in the state championship last year? No, why not?
Why not play?
I think they're in the semis.
They were in the semis, so they beat Santee.
On that weird, yeah.
We ain't going to talk about that. It's my pick, I believe. I feel bad again. You got so many dogs in the fight that it's just sometimes you want to take them all. But I'm going, why not Blue Devils, baby? They lost last year. I think they're going to make a run this year. We had a lot of kids play for us, biggest fans. I feel bad saying that because they got stuck with St. Mary's first round. But I do think St. Mary's is 1 year away, and then look out for them. A lot of youth, great kids, Gage, Ben, and so forth. But why not Blue Devils? They girls went back-to-back runner-up. I think the boys get it right this time. I'll tell you what, champions coming out of the top half of that bracket. I bet some money on that one. For sure. All right, awesome. Good. TJ, I got one last question for you. And just like in the game, you got to come up with it quick. You get a 30-second timeout. That's all you got left. You're down 2, 7 seconds left. Your ball at half court. State championships on the line. What are you drawing up?
Who do I have on my team?
Grayson Bauman.
1-4 low. Get out and go.
Are you 100% of the time going for the tie in there? In that?
Down 2?
Down 2, 7 seconds, balls at half court.
I have always been a believer in having 2 options, 1 to 3, 1 to 2, but I've always been a believer late in the game of forcing the issue. Like, I think you got to try to get to the rim. If you're down 1, down, I mean, obviously if you need a 3, you need a 3 to tie it, but I've always just been a believer that you gotta get somehow, some way, you gotta get a guy, with the ball in their hands downhill and get something happening.
Love it. For those of you out there that have coached with me or played for me, I got one play. It's called Zeus. I'm running it for a 3 to win the state championship. We make it, we win. We'll take the loss if we don't. Shoot it. Let's go.
And then you get for sale signs in your yard.
Probably so. Oh, shoot.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me. It's been awesome. I think this summer will be summer 4, I think, summer 4 or 5 with D-League. And, you really joke about so many things, but it's just, coaching is a big, small community, and it's just fun to get to know different people, learn from them, and not only that, but just the relationships, and you get to tell jokes. And whether it's summer programs, high school coaches, there's a ton of great ones out there. Just great, not just great coaches, but great dudes. And so it's just awesome getting to know. Most of my great friends are coaches and in this profession, and again, I always say coaching is coaching, man. There's great coaches out there that are running AAU or select or club programs. There's great coaches in high school programs, great coaches in college, and a lot of great people out there, and I count you guys amongst those. So I appreciate you letting me coach, and it's been awesome getting to know you guys, and I'm looking forward to just continuing to learn from you guys and be a part of D-League, and just continuing to see where things take us. So I appreciate you guys having me on.
All right. Thanks, man. We appreciate you. We would love getting to know you. Build the fort, baby. That's the goal. So, all right. Well, with that being said, hey, good luck to all the teams down in Lincoln this week. Obviously, we've got a little bit of a soft spot for the kids that played for us last summer, and our message when we said it yesterday, tryouts. To our younger kids, our mission is to watch you play Saturday at PBA. So in 5-6 days, some of those dreams will be coming true, and playing there is one thing, winning is the next, and we look forward, to cheering on those teams and the kids that played for us, and watching some great basketball. So, Coach, I know you'll be down there walking around. If you see biggest, tallest, ugliest bald guy, make sure you say hi to him. And I'll be there Friday, and look forward to seeing some good basketball. Good talk, boys. With that being said, D-League.